Are you looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this football and basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select two or more players, pick more or less on their projections for a wide variety of stats, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and injury insurance on your picks are what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the PrizePicks community of more than 7 million players who have already signed up. Right now, PrizePicks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/bluewire and use code BLUEWIRE. That's code BLUEWIRE at prizepicks.com/bluewire for a first deposit match of up to $100. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pod Mavericks Group Therapy. I'm recording from my kitchen because my wife kicked me out of my office. That's really fun. I am Kirk Henderson, editor-in-chief over at MavsMoneyball.com. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you so much for joining this evening, this sort of thing. I'm learning new things, and figuring out how to do this is going to be pretty interesting. So here in a minute, I'm going to share kind of the join link, and how that works in quick terms is very similar to how things worked in I see my dog going for something she shouldn't, in terms of Spotify Live, where you will basically click into the room and you will have an opportunity to come up on stage and talk with me if you want to. Now, for those of you who are watching live, we know that the Dallas Mavericks just fell to the Philadelphia 76ers 116 to 108. So, not the most fun game, but here we are. So first I'm going to send out the link here in the chat. And if you want to join in, you will need to come in here. There is a limit in the room in terms of how many people I can have on the wait list as possible. But once you join in here, I will basically get through everyone just like we normally do. I will probably post the link a few times during the show just so that we can move things along and make sure everyone gets to talk that wants to. So when you click on that streamable link that I posted in the chat, you will join in here and basically sit on a waiting room and still be able to talk and participate in the chat if you want to. But it would be, very helpful for me if you want to come hang out and talk Mavs a little bit. There's, transitioning from one show to another is real fun. And thank goodness we have my first guest coming up tonight. You guys will recognize him from Spotify Live. He is Ewan. I'm going to give him a second just to let him know that I'm coming up. And that's what I'll do. I'll announce your name and you guys can prepare to come on. Hopefully it'll be a little easier than Spotify Live, which would not always bring people up. But again, click that StreamYard.com link and you can hang out in the waiting room until I call your name. We'll come up and chat for a bit. So coming up first is Ewan. Welcome, Ewan. What's going on, my friend?
Hey, what's up, man? This is dope.
Is it? How are you?
Good, man. It's tough watching that game, man. The end of the second quarter is where we lost the game.
So what? Talk me through it. What happened at the end of the second quarter for you?
So we had like a 12-point lead with like a minute 30 left, and for whatever reason, Kid subbed out Kyrie, and the lead went from 12 to 5 point at halftime. So at that point, it's like, why sub out Kyrie at that point? You see, this is a must-win game. We kind of have the team on the ropes. Let them finish the half. Let your two best players finish the half to, potentially increase the lead from 12 to maybe, 18, 19. At least try. But he took out Kyrie with a minute 30 left, and then we lost the lead. We went down to 5, and then he brought Kyrie back in with for the last possession. It's like that minute and a half cost us the game today. That's and a lot of Mavs Twitter and on the Bleacher Report was feeling the same way. It's like that minute and a half really screwed us tonight.
How many points? I think they scored 6 or 8 points in that run, and then they came out and sort of shocked the Mavericks. And granted, the Mavericks rebuilt their lead if you look at kind of the way things went, but they got punched in the mouth just enough during that stretch to where I went from feeling good at halftime to feeling honestly like kind of nervous. And then things just like slowly proceeded to go weird.
Yeah, it's like I've said before, in other therapy, it's like J Kidd doesn't think ahead. I don't know. He's just bad. He's just a bad coach. He doesn't. It's bad. It's like you see that our first half is going good. As the team that we have, we're hot and cold from 3. So there's a good chance that we might, slow down depending on what may happen in the second half. At that point in the game, you try to step on Philadelphia's neck, especially with Joel Embiid having a bad first half and James Harden not doing. You try to capitalize on that moment, and he didn't do that. And I felt that swing really, really affected us. Like that swing, you know what I'm saying? That really got to us. So
I can certainly see why. I mean, for me, it was the fact that the Mavericks are bad. No, I'm just kidding. They were shooting nearly 50% from 3 through 3 quarters. And then they went on that stretch to start the fourth quarter where I think they had 3 shots in a row and then Reggie Bullock stepped out of bounds.
Right.
That pulled their, they had like, so if you go look at the box score, Reggie and Maxi Kleber had 6 turnovers. Those 6 dead possessions to me from those guys, just because they're low turnover guys, ended up sort of really, really biting the Mavericks in the end. It was not ideal.
But I think it was also like 2 of 12 from 3 together. Mm-hmm. So that's a bad stat. And it's like, as a coach, you see certain things is not working. Reggie's not giving you nothing offensively. We need to put some more pressure. Get Hardy back in there. Hardy's not. We can clearly see he's not scared in the moment right now. You know what I'm saying? He's working this game. He got the confidence, and he's not scared. Reggie's not doing anything with the ball on the floor. He's turning over the ball. Maxi's doing the same. He's scared to shoot. Get Hardy back in the game. He's not scared in the moment. He's not. And also as a coach, is like, you see, you're going into the fourth quarter. You normally sit look at that first 6 minutes. But it's like you also have to have a feel like, hey, we can't really mess around. We got to get him back in there, maybe the 8-minute mark, maybe the 9-minute mark, just how, the fourth quarter. Yeah, like you have to have a certain feel for the game as a coach. I personally never coached, but from watching, you can tell like that what good coaches would do,
Well, and there's just this, like, so from what I understand, Kidd actually is pretty vocal, but he doesn't really change his facial expression or his body. He talks at people a lot. He talks to refs a lot. That's what I've just been told by everyone. But when we're watching, what I see is a guy who has his hands in his pockets and is staring into the void. So you just have these sorts of things that happen, and it's really, really frustrating to watch. I don't know any other way to describe it other than that, because the players aren't going to save themselves at some point. You just need to do some, it's okay.
Exactly. And for our coach having J Kidd, he's not showing any emotion. To you look at the other bench with Doc Rivers, is like he's stressed out as much as we are with with everything his players is doing and his team is doing. Is like, show us something, show us something. It's mind-boggling, man. It's just he's bad. He's these last few games has really like amplified him not being that good of a coach.
It's really something else. It's it feels like there's an argument to be made that everybody's been talking about how they can't take, they won't tank. And we've mentioned this last show. They're not tanking. They're just not good.
Right. And it's like our role players are just they're hit or miss. I mean, the team construction has nothing to do with Kyrie and Luka. Like, they do their thing, and it's like, I know Kyrie's doing his best to be a great team player, and it's a lot of times he passed up a lot of shots. Like tonight, he has some open shots too. He swung it back to Tim Hardaway or swung it back to Reggie. I'm like, yo, shoot the ball, Kyrie. This is not a game to be, it's not game number 10. Like, we're at the crunch time right now. Like, take the shot. Like, you're doing your thing, take the shot.
That's right. Right.
And it's like, as much as you watch Luka play and Kyrie, you never see them really step out of bounds, right?
That's right.
And for Reggie Bullock taking so many 3-pointers in the corner, you would think they have better awareness of that area that he is all the time. So it's just...
it's very frustrating. So for those of you who are subscribing to me in the various means that I've asked you to, you might have just gotten another notification on your phone. It's because I sent this out to the Spotify Live, and I'm also posting in here and basically asking people to join this show from the Spotify Live, because we were having 200 and 300 people sometimes in those Spotify Lives, and right now we have 76, which I could not be happier about, considering where we're at. Okay, so do you got anything else for us, Ewan?
Nah, that's it, man. Thank you. Keep up the good work,
right,
man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man. Talk soon. Okay, now up next, we're going to go with, oh, hey, it's my buddy Pete. So, Pete, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you doing, Kirk? 2 nights in a row.
I have too many things going on at once. I think my laptop is going to like overheat from browsers open.
Can you hear me okay?
I can. You sound great.
Cool. Perfect. Well, 2 nights in a row. Really quite the achievement here. But hey, thanks for having me on. Yeah, tough loss. I mean, I think first of all, it's a tough game. We're playing one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the league at home. Although we have a sense of urgency, it's never going to be an easy game to win. I think what I just get frustrated with again is like,
Pete, where'd you go? I booted you. That was my bad.
Oh, no worries. Yeah. I don't know where I left off here, but
no, it's just a second. You were gone for like 5 seconds. That was me.
Yeah. So it's a tough game no matter what. Whether we have a sense of urgency. We have the greater sense of urgency, but they're one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the league, and they're playing at home. And so it's a tough game to win, but obviously a heartbreaker because we were so close and we had so many chances. The thing that gets me kind of frustrated is I'm not defending Maxey and Bullock this game. They have bad games. It's just that your role players are going to have shooting variance, but it's just that people always seem to blame them, who they go out there and execute the team system every single game, but I'm so enamored with with 15 to 17 point per game scorers that are just complete boneheads that are blowing defensive assignments constantly not boxing people out. And they think like that's like what winning basketball is about, is scoring, double figures, and that's not to say that the Mavs can't upgrade Maxey or Bullock, but those aren't the reasons that the Mavs haven't been good. It took me a while to pull this stat, but since 21-22, the Mavs are 60-50, so a little bit over 500 when Tim plays, and 99-57 when he doesn't. So quite a big gap there. And so yeah, I mean, the season's not over. I'm still gonna retain hope. I switched over to my league pass to the Thunder game right after the end of the game. I don't know if you caught that, but that Thunder right ahead of us in the standings hit a game winner just ridiculously.
Of course.
Yeah, so it's just another tough one, but I get and then of course Kidd I thought was awful tonight again. I think I'm fully out on him. I mean, not taking the challenge on that 3-point play. I mean, I was just baffled by that. And
it's like he's holding on to it for something better, and then in other games he'll use it so early on something stupid, and I'm like, what am I missing? Like, do they just have no rhyme or reason for how they share stuff?
I'm over Kidd, and something that's interesting is I think Sweeney's head coach equity took a huge hit. Sweeney was getting like interviews, right, as the defensive coordinator. I don't think he's getting interviews this summer.
I can see that. I can certainly see that.
And so I guess I talked about this a bit last night. That kind of like my philosophy for the Mavs' success is kind of try to approximate what they did last year with 2 wings, 2 creators, and Maxey at center. They played it a whole 30 seconds tonight. Congratulations on that. But it just baffles me that isn't the kind of configuration that's starting, ending, and eating the lion's share of minutes in these games. So yeah, that's about all I have for tonight. But thanks for having me up.
Sure, man. Thanks a lot for hanging out. I'm clicking between all these different things. So we'll see here. We'll see if I can actually figure out how to use this correctly. That was Pete. Pete's the man. Thanks for hanging out. All right, so I'm going to present because I'm still learning how to like do all this stuff within this software, and it's like the first time I've had this one. So we're just going to go to the very good Callie Kaplan tweet, and if you can't read it, I'm going to increase like my font by like 1,000%, like I'm an old person. Kyrie Irving on the Mavs playoffs outlook. It kind of looks like a little bit of a clusterfuck right now. Someone print that on a t-shirt with the Pod Maverick logo, because that is how I feel about my show as well. But we're having a good time. Okay, coming up next is my friend Harold. And for those of you who are in the chat and are listening, I posted the streamable share link a few times. Remember, if you want to come up here and talk, click in on that. It'll put you in a bit of a waiting room, and then I'll bring you up as I call your name. I do want to get to everybody. One of my favorite things about the Spotify Live was talking to as many people as possible. And, you know, we're just not quite there yet with the listener, but this is our first group and we're at 110 live people. So I like that. Harold, what's up?
Hey, Kurt, good to see you. Sorry.
You as well. I'm great.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, sorry I have to come under such terrible circumstances with the Mavs.
Well, you know, there's nothing like starting a brand new endeavor as the Titanic is sinking. It makes me feel good about my life decisions.
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about Mark Cuban.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was thinking to myself, you know, we've been saying for a while now that he's not going to fire Jason Kidd, but I'm trying to play a little bit of mind reading here, and I'd like you to do so too, if you could. I mean,
I would love to hear this.
Well, what could he possibly be thinking to himself? I mean, do you think he's just saying to himself, well, you know, because in the past he's used excuses like injuries, COVID, just random things. And, you know, now it's like, what can he possibly say? He still talks to Haralabob Vulgaris. We know that. I mean, they're following each other on Twitter, and they're still, I guess, friendly. And Vulgaris recently put out a tweet where he was highly critical of Kidd's coaching.
Yeah.
So I would think he must be in his ear, at least somewhat. I mean, you know, and Cuban, we have that tweet now from Callie Kaplan saying, Kyrie Irving saying it's a clusterfuck. And I would think that Cuban has, you know, lives in fear of Luka leaving, and he must do something drastic. He was willing to do something drastic by getting Kyrie. But what are your thoughts on all that?
Oh man, if this gets dark enough, I do think they move on from Kidd. But the question is, what is dark enough for Mark Cuban? And that I don't know the answer to, because I would have figured that just how bleak all their different asset expenditures have been over the last few years would have been enough. It really pains me if you go look at like the Thunder roster in 2018, the Kings roster in 2018, and then you look at our roster in 2018, and up until the trade deadline, when they moved for Kyrie Irving, we still had 5 of the same top 8 rotation players as we had in 2019. In April of 2019, it was really like, it's shocking and upsetting to kind of look at that. And that's not to say that, you know, well, I think our fan base is kind of tired of some of these players as much as we appreciate some of them, but that, you know, that is a Cuban held thing. And I don't know how much we can really hold Kidd responsible and Nico responsible for it, because as frustrated as I am with Kidd and Nico to a degree, they inherited a really rough situation and made chicken salad out of chicken shit when you trade Porzingis for Spencer Dinwiddie. And then they've moved on and signed and gotten Kyrie Irving, but that it's worked, well, that it hasn't worked to date is just, it's a poor reflection on everything. And I'm not really sure where the Mavericks go next, because it feels like I'm a really bad gambler. Like when I go to the blackjack table, if I start to lose money, I will make bigger bets. And that's what this is. Because, you know, I'm sort of the opinion that Luka, if, you know, no Euro players ever actually asked to be traded, but we're on a course for Luka being the first. And I don't think the average fan, you know, that understands just how dark it's gotten, because the Mavericks do such a good job of selling the situation and saying, hey, this is actually fine. But it's gone so badly. You know, I was looking at the win-loss, like the schedule recently, barring a overtime victory against the super tanking Spurs and a last second shot by Maxi Kleber, that broke up what would have been a 9-game losing streak. 9 games. I mean, they are so much worse than we realize. And we watch this team all the time. So I don't think you asked me a lot of questions. I tried to answer them all.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like they're getting worse and worse and worse. At the beginning of the year, they had a slightly winning record, and we kept saying, like, man, but we've lost all these close games. We could be first in the West right now. We've said that for several weeks. And then they kept getting worse and worse. I mean, and I said this over Twitter. It really seems like, the further and further away that we get from Carlisle's discipline, the team is just playing worse and worse and worse. And last year, we had the switch in the coaches. We had a coach who's more of a player-friendly coach. And I think there was still some residual experience from Carlisle's discipline. Combine that with kids' feel-good approach, and I think it made for a really good combination last year. But we're getting too far away from that now, and I think Kidd, as a bad coach, is just coming out. You see that in the last second plays where it's just throwing it to Luka near half court, or all these close games that we constantly lose. It shouldn't be that way. And frankly, I feel like the only solution at this point is to get that first round draft pick, fire Jason Kidd, and just hope. And that's all we got.
Harold, outstanding stuff. Thank you so much for joining me on my first videocast live stream. I appreciate you taking the time.
Take care, brother.
All right. Talk soon. I apologize for the dogs in the background because some people don't understand it's 11 o'clock at night. Sorry. Lila Rose has, she has tenacity and she will not leave my older dog alone. And she's biting the couch now, which is problematic. The perils of doing a live show. Okay. Coming up next is my man, Grayson. I'm not seeing an icon for, there he is. Okay. So I'm learning about this as you guys are as well. I really appreciate you bearing with me this evening. This has certainly been fun and a bit of an adventure. Grayson, welcome to the show.
Hey, this is new and interesting and exciting.
Are you on your phone? If you're on your phone, tilt your phone that way.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, there we go.
Whoa. There we go. You saw I'm playing in my little show. Anyway, okay, I just want to ask you a quick question. I'm sure there's a lot of people. So we know a lot about player regression in the NBA, like players just getting worse, whether it's shooting or defense or whatever. What I don't hear a lot about is coaching regression. And Kidd now has a kind of a track record of this, actually. I mean, he's done this at multiple stops now where he has a good to decent first year that impresses some people, and then the wheels kind of fall off. And I'm just curious why you think that happens.
Well, there's something to be said about effort, and there's something to be said about new. And as far as Kidd is concerned, he's really good about getting a lot from certain types of players. I mean, if you really think about their effort levels, he really got the most out of all of those guys last year. And where regression comes in the second year is because of the fact that there's not really anything schematically interesting behind it. That's what I've been really disappointed in, where you have this big of a assistant coach group. And, I think some of this you can put on Luke on the offensive end, but defensively, they've not been able, nothing they try works. Now, is that the roster's fault? I do think there's something to it. The roster is pretty rough, but it's maddening to watch.
Yeah, I mean, defensively, it's hard to really totally blame Kidd because they just don't really have a lot of guys that are like two-way players, to be honest. They really don't. I mean, even Maxey, who is supposed to be our defensive anchor, just hasn't really been great this year. And that is player regression, and that you can't really blame Kidd too much for that. But I do agree. It does seem a little bit systemic. And I don't know. It just seems like there's more apathy from everyone this year. It's like not just the coaching staff, but also the players and maybe even like the media in the front office a little bit. It's just, and maybe that's just because of the fate of the team that we've kind of accepted our fate. I don't really know. But I just wanted to hear your thoughts on it. I'll let someone else talk. I appreciate it.
No, I'm glad you came in and hung out. Fantastic hair. I'm jealous.
I need a cut. really badly, actually.
We'll talk soon. The perils of doing a live show is I can already tell my wife hates this. So it's a great thing, just my wife not liking the show. But here we are. All right, coming up next is going to be my man Chris. You guys know Chris from all these Spotify lives. He is the happy one, though I doubt he's very happy tonight. Chris, I hope you're ready to go because I'm going to click and add you in here. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, I would have my camera on, but it's either too dim in here in my computer room, or it could be too bright if I turn the light on. So I'm just gonna.
Either one works, but we're glad to have you on. What you thinking tonight?
Oh my God! Just the fact that the Thunder won and the Lakers won, that just makes. I don't know, man. We got 5 games left. We are in like this second. If the playoffs started right now, we would be in that worst case scenario where we wouldn't keep our draft pick and we would miss out completely on the plan. That's if the draft lottery odds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would work in there. Okay. Now, my question to you is, if that does happen towards the end, and that would be the Mavs' way, the way this season has been going, is it more like a coin flip? Like if we're the bottom 11th, is there like a coin flip chance on possibly moving up to the 10th spot? I know the Mavs haven't had any.
Oh, okay. So you're asking like how the lottery odds work.
Yeah.
It basically goes like this. You either roll up into the top 4 or you stay where you are, or if someone else moves into the top 4, depending on if it's somebody behind you or above you,
okay,
you will then be slotted backwards. So like, for example, the Mavericks in 2018 had the 3rd best odds.
Yeah, the Grizzlies, and it was the Grizzlies and the Pelicans, right? And we could have.
No, that was the next year. That was 2019.
Oh, okay.
Where those two jumped from, we're all in the same cluster, and the Mavericks stayed at 10, and then they were all like, there was a 3-way tie in 2019. 2018, basically what ended up happening was we moved back 2 slots because other teams jumped us based off of the lottery. The way they flatten the odds, it happens more than it used to happen, but it's really, I don't trust the Mavericks' chances. I mentioned this like repeatedly. I think the Mavericks are still paying for the Stepien era rules where they took repeated, they basically took over all the Cleveland Cavaliers draft picks because of the Cavs just like willing to trade everything. And I think, and that resulted in the Stepien rule, which is you can't trade draft picks in back-to-back years in advance. I think the Mavericks are still paying for that karma wise because they immediately went to basically being they were a lottery team, an expansion team in the 80s. Then by the end of the 80s, they were in the Western Conference Finals against the Lakers.
And have we ever been this torn with 5 games left, like with this whole draft pick situation, top 10? Have we ever been in a situation where it's like, oh, I don't know, should we win? Should we lose? Like this play-in thing is a new thing the last few years. It's just, it sucks. It sucks as a fan. Like if we didn't have if we were going to have our draft pick no matter what, or if we knew we weren't going to have our draft pick, I think it'd be different and be like, okay, it's either we're in or we're out. But this draft pick is very important, I think, unless they mess it up in some kind of way, even if we keep it.
Right, because then you could trade it. You could do something with it, but not I earnestly think if trying to think how far I want to go with this at this point. But right now I feel that this is as like dark as it really could be.
And of course ESPN has to paint this picture of, and Kyrie could bounce. Yeah, Kyrie can bounce, but I feel like he's been this model citizen. I really feel like he's being on his absolute best behavior to get paid. I pray to God they hold on to him, because oh my God, things have went so dark so quick in the last several months, man. Like it's nuts. And now we have to worry about in our last 2 games we're playing against. I mean, Chicago's not all that great, but the Spurs. I mean, God, I'm just worried on what we're doing now. Like, do you think they might actually try to shut it down? Because we would basically have to win out now. I think. Will we have 5 games left?
Yes.
Win them all.
It's gonna be dark.
Yeah, we have to win them all, and then hope that the Thunder and the Lakers maybe lose 3 of them. Mm-hmm. I mean, shut it down. I would never think that as a Mets fan I would say that, but as far as just getting this draft pick, we need this draft pick.
I don't think you can shut it because, like I mentioned this to Josh, or I might have said this earlier in the show already. You're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because if you shut Luka down and you cave, you're eventually quitting, which he hates. If you miss the playoffs and lose the draft pick, you're going to piss him off too. Like these things are it's dark right now.
But if we go all the way and then end up, I know he's a competitor. I totally respect that. But if we go all the way, is he going to somewhat understand, next season, like, oh, we couldn't keep our draft pick because we were trying to squeak into the play-in or something. I mean, God, this team is just historically bad on defense. It's been the most frustrating had as a fan, even including those years we had Wesley Matthews and Harrison Barnes when we were losing. At least we got Luka out of that. But this sucks. Like, I don't know, man. And we don't have a game till Saturday. I don't know what they're going to do. But what do you think? Last question. If they lose against the Heat on Saturday, do you think that they're going to just keep going and just keep trying to play Kyrie and Luka? I mean,
yeah, I do.
Wow.
I just think that's the nature of where we're going here. It's not the most fun thing in the world. I want to share something because I think this is just like where we're at in the state. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. I hope you can. In the state of like where we are at the moment. So my friend Mike Leslie of WFAA is kind of he shared the clusterfuck thing again, and I don't know if people can see it, so I'll zoom in again just to make it big. And he says this is because Tim Bontemps said, Kyrie Irving, when asked about how things are going in Dallas at the moment, it's kind of a little bit of a clusterfuck right now. Like, that's a funny quote. And Mike Leslie says this is not a fair or accurate representation of the moment. Irving was asked about the Mavs playoff situation and not how things are going. To me, this is a distinction without difference. It is a distinction without difference. Like, how things are going and how the playoff race is going are the same thing. What are we complaining about right now?
Yeah. But lastly, I think that how quickly things can go south, who knows? Maybe next season, just think in the summer, we can sign Kyrie, bolster our defense up some, like do something with this roster, and then maybe some crazy trades in the middle of the season. I don't know. We will, and keep our draft pick. I mean, things can go crazy, like good for us next year. I mean, because we know this season nothing's going to happen. Even if we make the play-in, even if we make the playoffs, even if we made it to the finals, then that's not going to happen. Like the fucking Celtics and the Bucks, then they're just too good. So I don't know. Just hopefully, this is scary right now where we're at, though. So.
Well, I appreciate you coming in on my inaugural live show. This is a little freaky for me because I don't really know what I'm doing. But I'm glad
you're doing
that
good, man.
Loyal listeners have come and hung out so far.
You and Josh are doing good, and we all appreciate you. And then I'll try to get on camera at some point, too.
That's fine. I mean, even if it's dark, it's still better than nothing. But I'm glad to know that you can just do the audio only. That's actually good to know.
Yes,
all right. Thanks so much.
No problem.
We're driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. One of the things I love about Indeed is it makes hiring all in one place so easy and streamlined so I can spend more time on the rest of my business. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences. So the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Just go to Indeed.com/Blue Wire right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Okay, so coming up next then is Joe. He's the last one that's waiting. I'm going to post the link once again in the feed in case anybody else would like to come talk. And if they wouldn't, then maybe we'll just close out of the show a little earlier than we do normally with some of these things. Joe, welcome to the show. What's going on?
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me okay?
I can. Thank you so much for joining.
Well, thank you, Kirk. I really appreciate your work. I appreciate you and Josh talking about the Mavs. And Just had a few things here.
Of course.
For one thing, I think if you look at last year, you look at in my mind, it's like my first question was, why wasn't Hardy in the fourth quarter? I mean, he's one of the best spot up shooters.
He has been. He really has been.
You have all these guys that are fucking, excuse my language, they're shooting bricks.
Curse away.
And and it's like, I mean, I know he might not be the best defender, but the guy is like a fucking 45, 50% shooter on catch and shoot. Why the fuck is he not playing? That's one thing.
Well,
and then I think I go back
the defense stuff. He's pretty good at defense. He's not bad.
I'm trying in my mind, Kirk. I'm trying to figure out, okay, what the fuck is Kidd thinking to where he's not having Hardy? Now I understand Wood. Wood is kind of wishy-washy, but god dang, Hardy is one of your best shooters and you need fucking points. You're not doing anything in the fourth quarter. Luka and Kyrie looks like they're maybe running a little gas, maybe, I don't know. But you need, and I'm tired of seeing, Hardaway Jr. trying to drive and miss a layup or miss a shot. And Cardio B, known as Bullock, I mean, he's bricking shots. So, but my thought is that he's going to last, and I think this goes to what his problem is. His first year he does okay, and then the second year he regresses because he stays with the same shit. So he's staying with all these guys that played great last year, but you're missing on what is working now in the moment. You can't get caught up with what happened last year. You got to look at, okay, what is going on now? Hardy is one of our best shooters. We need a freaking shot. They're fucking double teaming Luka and Kyrie every time, and we're not paying for it. They're not paying for it. We're allowing these people to double Luka and Kyrie because these people can't play 4-on-3 basketball.
That's right.
And it goes down to shooting. We need, and if you have Hardy there, at least if you double Kyrie or you double Luka, he's going to make you pay. He's going to make, 45 to 50% of the shots wide open shots that he's taking.
It's more than just shooting though for me, Joe, because there were a couple of turnovers, the Maxey turnovers. It's guys that can only, and Maxey's been pretty good for a long time. So I feel bad kind of using him as the example here, but it's guys that can do multiple things. So guys that can attack off the dribble. Does anyone in here feel remotely comfortable when Tim dribbles at the rim? I doubt that.
No,
it's kind of Luka, Hardy, and Kyrie. That's it. Those are and granted, that's more than they had in an earlier point in the year because when they were just using Luka and that was, variations. You remember when Kemba Walker was on the team? That was a fun one. This is it's a tough go. So it's like guys that can attack in multiple ways because Wood has fallen backwards to a degree. Where he's not really trusted by anybody anymore, even though he can do all these things. And so they just don't have the horses. And then the guys that they do have, you don't have a ton of confidence in.
Right. And I think it's sad what happened to Josh Green because he was playing really, really well. And then all of a sudden, his minutes are cut because they put in this other dude that they just hired, from a 10-day, whatever, or I forget his name, Holloway or whatever. And they play him 3 or 4 games. And then that really hurts hurts Josh Green's confidence. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you just look back at some of the moves made by Kidd. I don't know. I wouldn't call it strategy or, you probably could call it strategy, but I think a lot of it is his freaking lineups and the people he plays. I'm just looking at these guys that are on the court, and I'm like, why isn't Hardy on here? Why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing that? And a true coach that shit is for granted. They know which players, they have a feel. They know, what players to play. And I can't explain last year. I mean, it's really hard to explain what happened and how they got to but I'll tell you what it is. I think it's because Luka is that, think about it. They had Porzingis, they traded, and they got Dinwiddie, and they got Bertans, and they went all the way to Western. And of course, they had Brunson. That's what makes it hard because you have this subtraction of losing Brunson, which is huge, and then you don't have Dinwiddie. but it tells you how great they had when they went all the way to the finals with just Dinwiddie, essentially.
Yep.
And just removing Porzingis and Luka playing out of his mind and Brunson playing great, stepping up in the playoffs, because people don't realize, he faltered in the Clippers playoffs. That's why, I think the Mavericks were hesitant to give him the deal, because he faltered in both, Clipper playoff series. They basically played him off the floor because he was too small. But he proved himself against the Utah series. He proved himself not so much in Golden State, but of course Golden State just completely took us out of what we were doing.
That was not anybody's series. That was where all the Mavericks weaknesses were exposed.
Oh God, yeah. So it just makes you. So my thought is this: if we can get into the play-in with Luka and with Kyrie, Luka's a different animal in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
The scariest playoff numbers. He's a different player. He's a different player. If he can carry anything, and with him and Kyrie, I think if they can just get in, I never thought that we'd have to worry about being there playing, but now they're having to fight their life just to get the freaking play-in.
Yeah,
that's
what makes me wonder. It's because no team that's won in the play-in has done anything, because you're basically at the bottom of the rung. So is it worth it at that point? Now, for some teams, they basically need the playoff revenue, but not the Mavericks. So. I don't, Bobby in the chat says, so let's tank. And I don't, it's so disappointing. It's so disappointing. Well, Joe, I appreciate you joining my show here. What else you got for us?
Thank you, man. I just want to comment. I really appreciate all your work, your articles and the podcasts that you've done. And, I listen to you and Josh a lot, and, and those group therapies have really come in handy with some of these losses. Some of these losses have just been unfucking believable. So it just, the Friday night loss in losing to Charlotte at home, even though actually Charlotte beat a really good team. They beat OKC on the road, so it made that little bit less bad. But losing at home, and then Dennis Johnson shooting the dagger, I'm like, what the? It just, that was one of the most horrific outs. And then before that, the Wednesday loss to Golden State at home, and Golden State doesn't win they have one of the worst road records. And you let fucking Draymond Green,
you just keep going,
who doesn't even.
It's so painful. There's been so many of these losses.
Oh,
that 14 points gave in at the start of the year to the Thunder. Like, that game was haunting, and now it's full on nightmare. So, well, appreciate it very much. I hope you come back.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, my man Sam's going to come up next, but I want to read something that was in the chat that I thought was worth it, and I'm going to share it here on screen. Harmon asks if I have any thoughts as to Luka and Embiid's lengthy conversation after the game. I wonder if Luka is pondering a move. I really hope not, but if Luka does leave, it's only to pair up with one guy, and it's Jokic, is what he says in his next message. I tend to agree about the pairing sort of thing. I don't necessarily think Luka has any interest in leaving. If anything, it's going to be Embiid, because Embiid has not ever gotten out of the second round. The main thing that seems to stop Embiid is Embiid. So, he's kind of the newer one out of that whole group. Okay, coming up next is Sam. I hope Sam came over from Spotify live and I made him join a live show. What's up, Sam?
What's going on, Kirk? You got me?
I do. Thank you so much for switching platforms. I know I'm pissing everybody off because I left open a Spotify live room and basically had a link and was like, come join in here. And I can't tell how many people have actually done that. So it's going to be an odd transition, I think.
Oh, no, it's fine. That's actually how I found this. So
good.
Got a lot. But yeah, I didn't really watch the game tonight just because. And I saw the fourth quarter though. And the fourth, that just summarizes the whole season. Offense, they don't run anything. It's Luka, hey, run this, and let's hope our three-point shooters keep making threes. And they don't, you lose because you can't score any other way, apparently. You can't run plays with Kyrie. Nobody cuts to the basket. It's just Luka handle the ball and everybody go to the corner. And that's coaching. Like, at some point, you would think that, hey, you could develop something. I get Luka, he's generational talent. Man's amazing. I love the dude. I want him to stay here for the rest of his career. But like at some point, it's either going to have to be him. It has to be him. He has to say, I need to probably lean back a little bit and just say, okay, this is probably the worst season I've ever had in my life. What's wrong? What's the issue? And if he realized that, I think the whole team would be better off for it. Because as great as he is, like we saw what his greatness could do, and that's 5 games above 500 with the shit right. And at this point, I mean, they're not tanking, but they need to lose Miami because I don't think they're beating Miami.
Well, Miami needs a win. Miami is struggling, and they play Miami and then they play Atlanta. I didn't realize they had a back-to-back like this at the end of the year, and both of those games are basically must-win for both of those teams.
Yeah, because basically, I think Miami's 7 still and is 8. So, if you win playing, and that's, a big deal. So I think they want to win those games. And the Mavericks at this point, I mean, I'm trying to see it, but I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing the path to the playoffs at this point. My thing is at this point, just I don't want to say lose out, but let's get this draft pick somehow. Because if you get this draft pick, just think about it. We're talking about the roster how it's been the same for the last 5 years. You get if Kyrie stays, you got Kyrie and Luka, you got the draft pick, and I'm pretty sure whoever they draft can work with Kyrie and Luka. Luka and Kyrie can make him better. So that's another player right there. You have Jaden Hardy. You see what he can do, the rotation. Josh Green, I would assume he would start next year, I would think. If he could just keep developing the way he's at, that's another player. Dwight Powell, if you sign him, whatever. I don't care at this point.
Dwight Powell just comes with the building. I just expect him to retire as all-time games played leader. He's going to retire in like 2040.
Yeah, something. And then hopefully if you get a couple of free agents, your roster literally flips. Well, I won't say it flips, but you have a totally different rotation than you had the last 4 years. Mm-hmm. So I think that could work. I don't know what they're going to do. It comes up to, like I said, Luka. I was listening to the ticket earlier, and they were talking about, would you rather make the play-in and get beat, or would you rather just miss the playoffs and Kidd is guaranteed to get fired?
Spicy.
I kind of want Kidd to get fired. So, like at this point, I just think it's kind of it's just not working, And like one of the guys said it earlier, we've seen the pattern. We saw it in Brooklyn. We saw it in Milwaukee. It's just not working. Like, and Cuban has to realize at some point, like you said it before, it's it's a business, it's not a friendship.
Mm-hmm. I think that's important, and I don't know if they do that sort of thing enough. Oh man, well, I appreciate you jumping platforms. You got anything else for us?
No. I mean, like I said, I'm just kind of looking forward to the demise. So,
All right, man. Well, I hope you come back when we do one of these on Saturday, okay?
Most definitely. Have a good one.
All right, talk soon. Okay, coming up next from across the planet, my man Ishan, who is in India. Don't know if we're going to get video from him, but I do think we are going to get audio. Let's see here. If you are able to talk, Ishan, hit the end. Hey, there we are. Turn that camera too. We got you on
Yeah, it's just not letting me go full screen.
There we go. There we go. What's up, man? Good to see you.
What's up? I'm just in a constant cycle of pain, Kirk. Like, it just hurts to be a Mavs fan right now.
I mean, to be fair, that's most sports fandom, but like this is particularly rough.
Yeah, even my soccer team is like actually way better than the Mavs, but just being like a Dallas Mavericks fan right now, it's like it's mainly like, not even being able to defend yourself anymore. Because whenever someone attacks you, they attack you on the right things.
Oh, yeah.
Like, everybody knows what's wrong with the Dallas Mavericks, and seemingly we can't do anything about it. Because there was this one thing we had since Luka's sophomore year that we don't have this year, which is this constant feeling that we're exceeding expectations. Nobody expected us to make the playoffs in Luka's sophomore year. He, I think, finished 4th in MVP, one of his best seasons, the fastest we played in this era of Dallas Mavericks basketball. That was a really fun season. Even though we were a first-round exit, that was a fun season. The season after that, I don't think the regular season was as fun because as fans, we were expecting more. But then that playoff 7-game loss, even though we should have won that series, fans left optimistic. Like Luka is ahead of schedule.
Sure.
And then last year, it seemed like it was horrible till like December. And then we looked like the best team for the next like 4 months of the season. And like we made the NBA's Final Four. Another season of exceeding expectations. So now you come into another season where objectively everything around the team has gotten worse. And this constant feeling that we're just going to keep exceeding expectations ultimately bog down the fans, because I've hated this narrative since the first week of the season, since we blew that 22-point lead to Phoenix, when we lost to OKC by blowing that 16-point lead in 4 minutes. When we lost to the Orlando Magic. Like, I remember the valid criticisms that were being brought up and how they were being dismissed with the notion that, well, we put it together every year, we're going to put it together now. We did nothing to work towards putting it together and just assumed we were going to be putting it together all year long. And all these losses, have we not seen a pattern? Have we not seen all of them be single-digit losses? Have we not seen multiple third-quarter leads blown to smithereens? 13 losses this season where we had a 10-point lead. Like, now we see what this team could achieve, flaws and all. Luka's having objectively a historic year. Flaws and all, this team could have done so much more. And after a point, there's so many fingers to point, so many people to blame. I think we're going to go another season where people escape accountability within the organization. And now I genuinely don't know where we go, because I don't see extending Kyrie on a max to be as valuable as, getting a defensive asset. But then how do we get a defensive asset? If we don't give up the pick this year to New York, we go another season strapped for assets in the middle of the season.
Yep.
If we do get the pick, do we trade it? Do we develop someone? Have a player like Jaden Hardy is going to be extremely valuable just because he's cheap on this Luka contract. He's going to remain a cheap player that's going to be a highly valuable player. That's why the draft is important. That's why we've waffled too many drafts already. Yep. So it's like the avenues to improvement seem bleak. Jason Kidd is a calamitous coach at this point. Like, actually...
Calamity Kid. Yeah.
Calamity Kid. He is Calamity Kid. And, like, I'm sick of seeing it. I think no matter whatever the agenda with Nico, Cuban, Kidd, all these front office and coaching staff people is, if Luka's not playing for that guy, he's not staying. And I'm really not super optimistic about Kidd's chances of staying either. Because these players are not playing for him. His voice has diminished heavily. Like, remember after that first Charlotte game, he came out, made that big speech about, the fans should have booed us in the first quarter. This is not acceptable. And effort is number one. And they came out the next game with even less effort. Like, they don't care about what that man has to say. And at that point, if you're not sacking him, that's like insane. Like, it's insane to just see the elephant in the room, go pet it, give it some food, give it some water, take care of it, but let it remain the elephant in the room. And let it impact the space within which you work. Let it impact your team. Let it impact everything that we saw as positives last season, which was at least effort. All of it. Like, it's really worrying to be a fan right now.
So I should have had my hand up the whole time. Ishan's sermon, and that was a sermon.
Sorry.
Great shit. Great shit. Thank you so much for this. You got anything else?
No, I'm good.
All right. I hope you come back. Hope this was easy.
Yes. Yeah, I like this quite a lot more, actually.
I like this too. And I'm annoyed I didn't listen to the dozens of people that told me to do this earlier. And I didn't want to because I don't like change. So, all right, man. We'll talk soon. All right.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
All right. Okay. Coming up next then is my man, Tyler. Tyler is the last one I have waiting, but I'm going to send out the link one more time. You can come on up and we can keep talking because I am, in the words of friend of the show, Kevin O'Connor, pumped and jacked. There's Tyler, he and his black screen, but that's just fine. Tyler, what's going on?
Yeah, see, I don't know how to make the camera work. I'll have to, sort through these technical difficulties, but we'll get there. We'll get there. It's about like the Mavs season. It's kind of just a ginormous technical difficulty.
My dogs. Woo! Are we here? Okay. I thought my dogs pulled the internet out of the wall.
Oh, it's just a ginormous technical difficulty, kind of like the Mavs season.
Sure. That's a great way.
Yeah. So, first thing, I do like the setup. Great job here with this. This is good stuff.
Thank you kindly. I'm having to figure out how to design stuff and use the basic websites for dummies, but thank goodness there's a lot of resources for me to go and Google. I'm too old to learn new things. I don't want this, but I'm going to do it for you guys.
The people. You're the people's champ, Kirk.
Damn right.
So I have a hot take, and it's not really even hot. It's just kind of funny. But so if and when the Mavs do end up getting to the lottery, the person who goes to put their name on this season and go sit at the stupid podium should be fired immediately for wanting to have themselves associated with this disaster of a season. I don't care who it is. Dirk, Finley, who cares? You go out there and you want to represent this, you're fired. So, yeah.
Spicy.
I mean, it just is what it is at this point. I mean, I've given up hope, but I mean, Kyrie's at least something new.
Yeah, I think he's fun to watch. It's just they don't have quite enough.
Yeah, there's just lacking. But I don't have much else to add, so I will cede my time. But great work here, man. This is good stuff. I'll have to come back.
All right, and tell your friends and everybody subscribe. Go to the subscribe button. Subscribe, things happen. People are making jokes, so they're like, "Oh, Kirk, you're gonna get podcast money or YouTube money." No, not for quite some time. Will I not get YouTube money because Josh and I you have to have 1,000 subscribers, and then you also have to have a hilarious number of hours listened. So we're gonna be putting in work on this for a while to build something up. Okay, coming up next then is my man Brian Zillum, Mavs Moneyball contributor. Brian, what's up, man? See if he's actually there. It looks like he froze. Brian Bueller? Yeah, he doesn't know he's on screen. Yeah, has no clue. It's great.
Kirk, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. What's up, man?
No. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You're kinda
everyone
coming
can
in
hear
and
you.
out.
Yeah. Do you have wonky internet today?
Okay, now we can. Yes.
No.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
I think just then. There we go. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we can't hear you.
The feed.
Sorry, boss. We gotta here. It was not working. I feel I just punted my own staff member. It's not his fault though. Okay, now we have Alex hanging out in here, so we're gonna give Alex a run. Alex, how you doing today?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can. Welcome.
Just wanted to let you know this look so much better than Spotify, and also I don't know if you saw people were trashing Tim and bound them so much for the tweet that he tweeted the whole screenshot of the whole conversation the guy had on Twitter. But yeah, I don't know. I think the game was at least competitive, and the effort was better. But yeah, it's just sad we don't have enough. I don't know.
We definitely don't have enough, and that's okay. For the record, Alex, I muted you just because I was getting feedback on your end. I'm guessing you're just calling in through your phone, which is fine, but then it'll sometimes pick up the audio and send it back. We're trying to do multiple things at once here, but yeah, they just don't have enough talent. It's you'd been wondering even before the Kyrie trade, I think that 7-game win streak against all those worst teams in the league really fed into our own BS about how good this team was. They were a 500 basketball team at best, and that's just really painful.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's true. And also Yeah, I don't know. Kidd should be fired, of course. Christian Wood. I don't know if you saw like he got in. These were made on him. I stopped believing him in like since Kyrie got traded. I don't know, maybe later. I don't know. And Josh Green, sometimes he's too passive. I think. Jaden should be playing more. But yeah, I think we should probably lose more. I don't know, but yeah, maybe a shot at win is free, right? We have a shot at win. I don't know.
Well, thank you, Alex, for hanging out and joining. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you, and thank you for this.
Absolutely, guys. Very much appreciate you doing the show. Okay, so I'm going to post the link one last time to see if anybody else wants to get in here. And then we will head out in a few. I'm going to go look for, Tim? I'm going to go either look for Tim Cato or Tim McMahon. I'm guessing it's Cato, but it could be Tim McMahon, like posting a fuller tweet. So no, I'm guessing it's McMahon. Tim McMahon. This is just great video. Tim Bontemps. This is great stuff. Because the one thing about Kyrie, this is just me soliloquizing, is he's the direct opposite of Luka in terms of quotes. And the quotes that he gives out are so damn long, it's hard to capture them in an effective manner, and it allows you to inadvertently say the wrong thing if you're quoting him. So doing the full quote actually makes the most sense, but it takes forever. And so I don't think I know Bontemps, he wouldn't share something out of pocket. So it's like Mavs fans mad at him. It's like, this is difficult. I mean, let's just look at this wall of text. Okay. I'm just going to read it because, great audio. I think just human nature, man. I'm getting traded to a New York environment and it's a lot of newness. I'm trying to introduce myself to everybody, figure out, who do guys go to on the team to confide in off the court? Who is our coaching staff as people? Upper management. Who are they as people? What do they expect from me? The big question, why they traded for me? And, what does it look like for our future? That's the big question. What does our future look like? What does our future look like? I think that now, again, just where we are in the season and where other teams are already positioned already, it kind of looks like a bit of a clusterfuck, to be honest with you, because we're 37-40 and we're trying to fight to get into the play-in game. It's not the expectations I don't think any of us had in this locker room, and me getting traded mid-season. I didn't expect to ask for a trade at that point in the season. I wanted to finish out in Brooklyn, finish out the season that we had going, and I didn't get a chance to do that. So some goals I had previously this season had to be shifted, and I had to be more than willing, which I am, to be flexible and adaptable to live with the results. Whether we make the playoffs or not, I just have to be at peace with where I am and which I am, and trust of the guys that I am going to be in that war room with every single day. So I'm appreciative of them giving me the opportunity. It's been nothing but great here. I've been at peace. So it's been very good outside of the losses, of course. We'd like to win every game. I mean, that is a long quote. I have really no comments on that, but it's almost like a filibuster. If you're familiar with any sort of like governmental policy, like when these senators get up and talk, they just do. Kyrie's good at that. Now, I really like when he answers technical basketball questions of like for Grant Afseth, so that's fun. Anyways, okay, I don't think we have anybody else that wants to come talk, so I think that that might be it for tonight. We just went just over an hour. Please come hang out. I'm going to post the links in the live show, and that will be going up on Spotify Live. Just reminding everybody to come subscribe to the YouTube channel. So if you want to come hang out in here, please do. Tell your friends. I had a great time tonight for our first show. Hopefully we'll do more of these. I mean, we are going to do more of these, but hopefully we'll get more people in here, more people coming and talking. Just like the Spotify Live, I had a great time hearing y'all's thoughts. It really helps. This is just a great first show. Last thing before we get out of here in terms of like house cleaning, as you guys can see in the bottom right corner, Josh and I joined the Blue Wire network. Listening to the ads helps us. So like we basically get paid on whether ads get listened to or not. Now, I don't know about you, but I tend to skip ads. So just, putting that out there. I'll probably be doing some live reads and stuff on shows too. I actually made the quip today where it's like, why am I not doing a BetterHelp live read? Anyway, this has been a great time. Thank you so much. Talk to you guys soon. Saturday night, maybe earlier. Who knows? Go Mavs. Bye, guys.